What happens when the trucks stop rolling, the power goes dark, and the grocery shelves empty out in less than 72 hours, as they did in dozens of US cities during past supply chain collapses? Most Americans discover too late that their emergency stash wouldn't last more than a few weeks. But here's the truth that few dare to confront. You can build a pantry that endures decades, not just years, if you know what to store. Imagine foods that stay safe, nutritious, and ready for 27 years or more, quietly sitting on a shelf while everything else spoils and rots. The question is, do you know which ones they are? This is the Downturn Report, where the truth gets personal. And today, we're exposing the 8 powdered foods that last forever. The overlooked essentials that could mean the difference between helplessness and control when the world outside stops working. Number 1, whey protein. If the past few years have taught us anything, it's that the line between normal life and total chaos can vanish overnight. One blackout, one supply chain collapse, one storm that empties the grocery shelves faster than a Black Friday stampede. And when that happens, most people discover too late that protein, the very thing that keeps your muscles from wasting and your immune system from crashing, is the Achilles heel of any food stash. You can stack rice and flour until your pantry groans, but without protein, your body begins to eat itself just to survive. That's where powdered whey protein steps in, not as a gym bro gimmick, but as one of the most overlooked emergency staples in America. Properly sealed with oxygen absorbers, a high-quality whey protein isolate can stay stable for 10 to 15 years, sometimes even longer, while still delivering all 9 essential amino acids your body cannot produce on its own. It's like storing strength in a jar, a quiet insurance policy that you'll still be standing when the world outside feels like it's falling apart. And here's the kicker. The power it packs into a tiny space is almost absurd. A single container, roughly the size of a paint can, can hold around 40 servings with 25 grams of protein each. That's 1,000 grams of pure muscle fuel hiding in something smaller than your coffee maker. But here's where most people fumble the ball. They grab the cheapest tub they can find, the kind stuffed with artificial sweeteners and chalky fillers, and then they're shocked when it clumps into cement, smells like wet cardboard, or turns rancid in less than a year. That's not bad luck. That's bad choices. Buying bargain bin protein is like boarding up your windows with tissue paper before a hurricane and wondering why your living room is full of rain. The smarter move is to treat whey protein like the strategic asset it is. Look for isolate or concentrate from a reputable brand with minimal additives. And don't just shove it on a shelf. Keep it sealed tight, or better yet, move it into Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers to stretch its shelf life well beyond a decade. And don't make the mistake of thinking it's only for doomsday. This stuff pulls double duty. A quick breakfast when you're late for work, a post-walk shake to keep aging muscles from withering, a way to boost your oatmeal, pancake batter, or smoothies without breaking the bank. For millions of Americans living on fixed incomes, every dollar counts, and whey protein gives you the most nutrition per inch of storage and per penny spent. Of course, not all whey is created equal, and not every brand deserves a spot in your cupboard. If you want reliability without the chemical circus, you might look at options like Naked Whey, bulk supplements, Nutricos, or True Nutrition, brands that skip the junk and focus on quality. Choosing them isn't about chasing fads. It's about making sure that when the grid goes dark and the shelves run bare, you're not left weak and unprepared. Because in a world where everything feels unstable, strength, literal, physical strength, might just be the most valuable currency you can store. Number 2, powdered milk. The day fresh milk disappears from store shelves, and we've all seen how fast that can happen, is the day most people realize how fragile their food security really is. For generations, milk has been a cornerstone of nutrition, loaded with calcium, vitamin D, and protein. But when refrigeration fails, supply chains stall, or prices skyrocket beyond what a fixed income can stretch, the carton in your fridge becomes a ticking clock. Powdered milk, though often dismissed as bland or weird, is the unsung hero in this story. Stored properly, non-fat powdered milk can remain viable for more than 25 years. Yes, nearly 3 decades. quietly waiting in your pantry to step in when everything else falls apart. Even full-fat powdered milk, despite its shorter 5 to 10-year lifespan due to the oils that eventually go rancid, plays an important role. The real insider strategy is to keep both, the full-fat variety for richer taste and comfort when times are tough, and the non-fat version for longevity that stretches far into the future. What most people miss is that powdered milk isn't about sipping it straight from the glass. Its true value shows up in how versatile it is in the kitchen. It turns thin soups into creamy meals that stick to your ribs on cold nights. It transforms mashed potatoes into hearty comfort food that tastes like Sunday dinner, even in the middle of a blackout. It breathes life into bread, biscuits, pancakes, and even homemade yogurt, not to mention a shockingly good cheese sauce if you know how to work your whisk. Need coffee creamer in a pinch? Done. Want hot chocolate when the power's out? Easy. Looking to bulk up smoothies or protein shakes without spending a fortune? Powdered milk does it all. It's the quiet multitasker in your pantry, the kind of humble staple that proves its worth only when the rest of the world starts crumbling. And for those rolling their eyes at the taste, here's a trick straight from homesteaders who've lived through worse than empty shelves. Mix your powdered milk the night before, stick it in the fridge, and let it cold steep overnight. That slow hydration changes everything, turning the texture smooth and mellowing the flavor. Add a single drop of vanilla extract and a pinch of sugar, and suddenly what once tasted like apocalypse milk now feels surprisingly close to the real thing. For Americans stretching every dollar on Social Security or watching grocery prices rise faster than their paychecks, powdered milk isn't some dusty relic. It's an insurance policy for your health and nutrition that could outlast your mortgage. And if you want dependable, clean-tasting options without the chemical aftertaste, consider brands like Hoosier Hill Farm, Augustin Farms, Thrive Life, or Judee's. They might not make you feel glamorous, but when the fridge is dark and the stores are empty, they'll feel like gold. Number 3, powdered cheese. If you think the idea of cheese in powder form sounds odd, brace yourself. You've probably been eating it for years without realizing it. That neon orange dust clinging to boxed macaroni and cheese? Powdered cheese. Those addictive cheese crackers that leave your fingers looking radioactive? Powdered cheese. Even that golden sprinkle on movie theater popcorn you swear tastes better than anything at home. Yep, that's powdered cheese too. The difference is that when you deliberately buy high-quality powdered cheddar or a premium cheese blend designed for long-term storage, you're getting a powerhouse staple that can last more than 20 years and radically transform how you survive on stored food. This isn't about gourmet dining in the apocalypse. It's about preserving flavor, fat, and morale when the rest of your pantry feels like a ration kit from a Cold War bunker. Here's the truth most people don't realize until they're forced to live off their emergency stash. Fat is one of the hardest things to store long-term. Oils go rancid. Butter turns unless freeze-dried or canned. Even nuts eventually spoil. Powdered cheese cuts through that problem like a hot knife through, well, cheese. It gives you a shelf-stable fat source that doesn't just feed your body, it feeds your soul. A small spoonful transforms bland rice and beans into something that tastes like comfort food. Stir it into scrambled eggs, whether fresh or powdered, and breakfast suddenly feels human again. Mix it into mashed potatoes and they go from barely edible to grandma's kitchen. Toss it into bread dough and you've got biscuits worth waking up for. Blend it with powdered milk and a few pantry staples, and you can even whip up a surprisingly decent cheese dip. But beyond nutrition and fat, powdered cheese serves a deeper role that preppers and planners often overlook. It protects you from flavor fatigue. That's the mental wall you hit when every meal tastes the same, day after day, even if you're technically getting enough calories. And once that happens, morale plummets. A truth I learned firsthand when I lived off long-term storage food for a week as an experiment. The blandness was more draining than the hunger. Powdered cheese is cheap insurance against that. For roughly $20 to $30, you can buy a container big enough to last years and add depth and joy to hundreds of meals. That's not a luxury. That's sanity in a jar. And in a world where groceries rise faster than pensions and one unexpected storm can strip the supermarket shelves clean, Investing in something that adds both calories and comfort isn't foolish. It's forward thinking. If you want to skip the neon junk and stock up on dependable, high-quality options, brands like Anthony's, Packet Gourmet, Future Essentials, or Firehouse Pantry offer powdered cheese blends that balance shelf life with flavor. Because when the world goes sideways and all you have is rice, beans, and boredom, that sprinkle of powdered cheddar might be the one thing that keeps dinner from feeling like defeat. Number 4. Powdered soup mixes. It's easy to roll your eyes at powdered soup and think of those salty MSG-packed packets that taste like they were designed by someone who's never met a vegetable. But that's not what we're talking about here. High-quality dehydrated soup mixes. The kind built with real vegetables, actual spices, and honest nutrition are one of the most underestimated weapons in any long-term pantry. Properly packaged, they can stay shelf-stable for 25 years or more, quietly waiting in your cupboard like a loyal guard dog that springs to life with just boiling water. And when disaster strikes, a storm wipes out power for weeks, shelves are stripped bare, or your grocery budget barely covers basics. The value of a warm, nourishing bowl of soup goes far beyond calories. It's not just food, it's comfort. It's psychological armor. A single bowl can calm panic in a way no dry cracker ever could. The magic of these mixes is in their simplicity. Most require nothing more than hot water and 10 to 15 minutes of simmering. No culinary degree, no expensive tools, just heat and patience. And yet the payoff is remarkable. From hearty split pea soup loaded with fiber and protein, to lentil blends rich in iron and nutrients, to black bean or minestrone mixes that feel like they came straight from a grandmother's stove. But here's where many people get burned. The cheap mixes that line store shelves are often little more than starch, salt, and a sad scattering of dehydrated flakes. They might look like a good deal, but when you actually open them, as I learned the hard way with one disappointing batch, they dissolve into little more than pasty flour water, a waste of money and a blow to morale when you need comfort most. The real key is reading the ingredient list like your life depends on it, because one day it just might. Look for vegetables, legumes, and real seasonings at the top, not fillers masquerading as nutrition. Better yet, consider building your own custom mixes. It's easier and cheaper than most people think. Buy dehydrated vegetables in bulk, add bouillon powder for depth, toss in dried beans or lentils, and season it with your favorite spices. Suddenly, you're not just storing soup. You're storing resilience, nutrition, and control over what your family eats. And here's the part too many preppers overlook. Flavor isn't a luxury, it's survival. Flavor fatigue, the slow erosion of appetite and spirit from eating the same bland meals over and over, can break your will faster than hunger. A varied soup rotation fights that, keeping both body and mind strong. For those on fixed incomes or Social Security, that kind of flexibility is priceless. And while DIY is a smart option, quality ready-made mixes from trusted brands like Harmony House, Legacy Premium, Augustin Farms, or Mother Earth products can offer peace of mind and decades of shelf life. When the world outside feels uncertain and the pantry is your lifeline, a pot of hot soup is more than just a meal. It's proof that comfort and strength can still exist, even in the hardest times. Number 5, powdered eggs. If there's one item that turns skeptics into believers the moment they understand its potential, it's powdered eggs. The very phrase might make you wrinkle your nose, haunted by memories of bland, rubbery, mystery eggs from old military rations. But that's ancient history. Modern powdered eggs are nothing like that cardboard-tasting reputation. They're one of the smartest, most powerful tools you can stash in your pantry. Why? Because eggs aren't just food. They're the backbone of breakfast, the glue that binds recipes together, the secret ingredient that turns flour and water into cakes, cookies, and comfort. Fresh eggs, though, are heartbreakingly fragile. They last maybe 3 to 5 weeks in your fridge if you're lucky. Powdered eggs, stored in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers in a cool, dry place, can hold strong for 30 years or even longer. That's not just shelf life. That's peace of mind measured in decades. What shocked me most when I first tried them wasn't just how long they last, but how close they come to the real thing when prepared correctly. Rehydrated the right way, they actually taste good. Shockingly good. And they're absurdly space efficient. A single number 10 can of powdered eggs, roughly equal to 7 dozen fresh eggs, takes up no more room than a large coffee container. Think about that. 84 eggs worth of protein in a space small, enough to fit under your sink. And you're not sacrificing nutrition. Each serving still delivers around 6 grams of protein, nearly identical to the fresh version. That's not survival food. That's strategic food. It's the difference between barely getting by and actually thriving in a crisis. The mistake most people make, and the reason they think powdered eggs are terrible, is that they don't know how to bring them back to life. The trick is simple but crucial. Use slightly warm water, never cold or hot. Mix 2 tablespoons of powder with 2 tablespoons of water, and here's the part everyone skips. Let it sit for about 5 minutes. That rest time lets the powder fully absorb moisture and reconstitute into something that behaves like a real egg. Then cook it low and slow. Cranking up the heat will leave you with a rubbery mess. Gentle heat with a bit of butter or oil, and you'll be stunned at how close it is to the real thing. And powdered eggs aren't just for bunkers and blackouts. They're a baker's dream, more consistent than fresh eggs, with no guessing whether what's in your carton is medium or large. Measurements are exact every single time, which means better cakes, cookies, and breads. They're also a camping essential. No more cracked shells leaking in your cooler. No more stressing about refrigeration on the road. Just scoop, mix, and cook. For older Americans watching every dollar and every cubic inch of storage, powdered eggs aren't just a backup plan. They're a way to stretch security, nutrition, and convenience decades into the future. And if you want dependable, clean-tasting options without the chalky aftertaste, brands like Ova Easy, Nutristore, Legacy Essentials, or Valley Food Storage deliver quality that proves powdered eggs aren't a compromise. They're an upgrade. Number 6, powdered peanut butter. If there's one pantry staple that pulls double duty as both comfort food and survival fuel, it's peanut butter. But traditional jars come with baggage. They're heavy, bulky, and despite their decent shelf life of a year or two, the oils inside will eventually betray you, turning rancid faster than you'd expect if stored in a warm pantry. Powdered peanut butter solves every one of those problems in one genius stroke. By stripping away most of the fat, what's left is concentrated peanut protein and pure roasted flavor packed into a form that's astonishingly lightweight and compact. And here's the kicker. When sealed and stored properly, it doesn't just sit quietly for a couple of years. It can stay stable for 15 to 20 years, sometimes longer, waiting patiently in your pantry long after other staples have spoiled and gone. Sure, you can rehydrate it with water to make a peanut spread, and while the texture might not fool a die-hard peanut butter purist, that's missing the real point. Powdered peanut butter isn't about imitation, it's about innovation. It shines brightest as an ingredient. Stir it into oatmeal for a breakfast that actually tastes like breakfast. Blend it into smoothies to pack protein without unnecessary fat. Fold it into baking recipes for a nutty depth that makes cookies and bread sing. Mix it into savory sauces for noodles or rice, or stir it straight into protein shakes for a punch of flavor and nutrition. The possibilities are endless, and every spoonful is loaded with utility. 2 teaspoons deliver roughly 7 grams of protein. Not bad for something that weighs almost nothing and takes up less space than a box of matches. And in a crisis, that efficiency matters more than ever. Peanuts are legumes, meaning they offer one of the highest protein counts in the plant world. That protein becomes survival gold when meat is scarce, expensive, or impossible to store. And even though powdered peanut butter has fewer calories than the regular kind due to the fat being removed, its versatility makes up for it tenfold. It becomes a building block, not just a condiment, that stretches meals further, makes bland food palatable, and gives you options when options are few. For older Americans trying to stretch every grocery dollar and every inch of pantry space, that kind of adaptability isn't a luxury, it's a lifeline. Personally, I keep several containers on hand, not just for what-if scenarios, but because it gives me control. Some days I crave the rich, full-bodied creaminess of the real thing. Other days, I want the taste without the fat and calories dragging me down. Powdered peanut butter gives me that choice. And in uncertain times, choice is a rare and powerful thing. If you're ready to add this quiet powerhouse to your pantry, brands like PB2, Crazy Richards, Just Great Stuff, or Better Body Foods make dependable, high-quality options that prove peanut butter doesn't have to come in a jar to be essential. Number 7, powdered fruit. If there's one game changer most people completely overlook when building their emergency food supply, it's this: powdered fruit. Not the usual jars of shriveled strawberries or dried apple chips. We're talking freeze-dried fruit ground into a fine, nutrient-dense powder. And once you understand what it can do, you'll wonder how you ever plan for the long haul without it. First off, it's the ultimate space saver. A single jar of powdered fruit can hold the nutritional equivalent of pounds upon pounds of fresh produce, compressing nature's bounty into something light, compact, and easy to store. Second, its versatility is unmatched. Rehydrate it into a fruit puree, stir it into oatmeal or yogurt, add it to smoothies, bake it into muffins and bread for natural flavor and color without extra moisture. You can even spread it thin to make fruit leather. It's a secret weapon hiding in plain sight, one that turns a plain prepper pantry into something closer to a real kitchen. But the benefits go beyond convenience. Because freeze-drying preserves most of the vitamins and antioxidants, powdered fruit packs real nutritional punch, not just empty sweetness. And here's the real kicker: it lets you add natural sweetness and vibrant flavor to food without relying solely on sugar. Of course, sugar still has its place in long-term storage, but powdered strawberry, banana, or mango brings something more: sweetness plus flavor plus nutrients. It's the difference between eating just to stay alive and eating in a way that keeps your body strong and your spirits lifted. And unlike those industrial sweetened mixes that taste like candy from a lab, this sweetness is built by the sun, nature's own factory. The best part? You don't even have to rely on store-bought options. If you have a freeze dryer and a strong blender, you can make your own for pennies on the dollar. Buy fruit in bulk when it's in season and cheap. Freeze dry it, grind it into powder, seal it in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers, and you've just bottled summer strawberries or autumn apples in a form that can last 25 to 30 years. That's not just food storage, that's time travel in a jar. And the possibilities it unlocks are endless. Powdered strawberry pancakes on a camping trip taste shockingly close to the real thing. A spoonful of powdered blueberries stirred into oatmeal on a cold morning delivers a flavor explosion that feels like sunlight in a bowl. Mix powdered mango into a protein shake, and suddenly your bland vanilla drink tastes like a beach vacation. But here's what most preppers miss: calories alone aren't enough. Morale matters. Happiness matters. Hope matters. You could have barrels of rice and beans, but if every meal tastes like cardboard and every day feels the same, that slow erosion of joy will eat away at you faster than hunger. Powdered fruit is one of those rare staples that doesn't feel essential until it is. Then it becomes priceless. It's not just food, it's a reminder of sweetness and color in a world that might feel gray. And if you're ready to add that boost of nutrition and joy to your pantry, brands like North Bay Trading Co., Kate Naturals, Nature Restore, or NutriCraft offer high-quality powdered fruits that store for decades and taste like hope itself, one spoonful at a time. Number 8, powdered vegetables. If powdered fruit is the forgotten luxury of food storage, then powdered vegetables are the unsung workhorse, the backbone that quietly does the heavy lifting when the world outside your pantry starts to fail. Think powdered carrots, powdered spinach, powdered tomato, powdered broccoli, powdered sweet potato, powdered kale. Each one a tiny nutritional bomb packed into a form that can last decades. No, you're not going to serve rehydrated powdered spinach as a glamorous side dish and wow anyone at dinner. That's not the mission. The point is to have a shelf-stable arsenal of vitamins, minerals, and fiber ready to deploy into almost anything you cook when fresh produce is unavailable, unaffordable, or rotting away in supply chain limbo. The beauty of powdered vegetables lies in their versatility. A spoonful stirred into soups and stews adds depth, color, and nutrients without extra bulk. Mixed into pasta sauce, they disappear into the background while quietly supercharging the dish. Stir them into rice to turn plain grains into something closer to a balanced meal. Blend them into ground meat for burgers or meatloaf, and you'll sneak in vitamins without anyone noticing. Toss them into smoothies and let the fruit do the heavy lifting on flavor. Even bread dough can become a nutritional upgrade with a bit of veggie powder mixed in. Casseroles, sauces, dips, broths. The possibilities are endless. And while some vitamin C is lost in dehydration or freeze drying, most of the good stuff, vitamin A, vitamin K, potassium, magnesium, and most importantly fiber, remains intact. That fiber part is no small thing. Americans consistently fall short of the recommended daily fiber intake, even in normal times. In a crisis, when diets tilt heavily toward processed foods and shelf-stable carbs, fiber becomes more than just good for digestion. It becomes essential to keeping the body functioning properly. It keeps the gut healthy, blood sugar steadier, and hunger more manageable when food options narrow. And powdered vegetables give you a way to deliver that fiber without refrigeration, without spoilage, and without taking up space that fresh produce would devour. Here's a pro tip from a nutritionist friend that changed how I prep. Make your own custom veggie blend. Combine equal parts powdered spinach, powdered carrot, powdered tomato, and powdered sweet potato. Store the mix in a jar, and you now have a concentrated nutritional powerhouse that you can add by the spoonful to almost anything. It adds virtually no noticeable flavor in small amounts, but it dramatically boosts nutritional value. I keep both individual powders and blends in my pantry. The singles for flexibility, the blends for convenience. And together they guarantee one crucial thing. Even if I'm living mostly on grains and protein, I'm still getting the vegetable nutrients my body needs to stay strong. And here's the deeper truth. In tough times, nutrition isn't just about survival, it's about resilience. A body fed only carbs and protein may limp along, but a body fueled with the minerals and fiber from vegetables fights harder, recovers faster, and weathers stress better. Powdered vegetables are how you bottle that resilience. If you're ready to turn bland survival rations into real meals, brands like Mother Earth Products, Frontier Co-op, North Bay Trading, or Healthy Solutions offer high-quality powdered vegetables that store for decades and turn even emergency food into something worth eating. Stocking these 8 powdered foods isn't just survival, it's taking control of your future. Subscribe for more life-saving truths.
Thanks so much for sticking with us to the very end. If you like this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe so you won't miss any of our daily updates. And now feel free to check out some of our latest and most popular videos showing up on your screen. Goodbye, and see you in the next one.